Being a quarterback in the NFL is no easy job. Players have to make tough decisions all the time, and some of them don't end up so well. Recently, Bridgewater was slammed for a game-changing decision he made during a game. Here are some of the worst performing quarterbacks in NFL history. Firstly, what happened to Bridgewater? Being a quarterback is tough because your coach and your teammates expect you to play well, sometimes even save the game. But when you don't deliver and let opportunities slip away, you're usually blamed for changing the game or making it worse. Teddy Bridgewater from the Denver Broncos recently experienced this when he attempted to make a game-changing decision. Poor Bridgewater was only trying to save the game, but what he ended up doing took his team straight to a disappointing loss. Bridgewater came under heavy criticism recently when his decision led to the Broncos' 30-13 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Denver was on the attack and was trailing 2013 late in the third quarter. At this moment, Bridgewater decided to hand the ball off to running back Melvin Gordon on 4th and short, only for Gordon to fumble and lose the ball. The other team saw this as an excellent opportunity to swoop in and take their fill, and so Eagles cornerback Darius Slay picked up the ball loose and proceeded to zigzag cross field before straightening up and making a dashing beeline for the Broncos' end zone. Slay looked like he was a man on a mission who had picked up on the enemy's weakness. He knew exactly what the other team was lacking and made quick decisions to benefit from their lack of coordination. His second mistake. Even though he made a huge mistake already, Bridgewater was still one of the few Broncos who had an opportunity to stop Slay. This means he had a chance to still turn the game around and save face in front of his team members. While the 29-year-old opted to not even attempt to tackle or resist Slay's advances. Instead, he ended up allowing Slay to return the fumble 82 yards for a magnificent Eagles touchdown. After this, Slay's score had the Eagles extending their lead to 27-13, and the poor Broncos didn't score another point for the rest of the contest. If Bridgewater had attempted to tackle and managed to stop the fumble return, would the Broncos have had a chance at victory? I guess we'll never know. Fans on social media were particularly angry about Bridgewater's lackluster effort. His lazy performance ended up causing a major stir on social media, and he was even labeled egregious and pathetic by fans, media, and former NFL players. And even though that's a little harsh, Bridgewater knew he had this coming when he decided to change the game last minute. What made everything worse? Right after the game, Bridgewater spoke to the press and ended up defending his decision not to try and bring Slay down during the game. He said, "As I see it, I see a guy trying to put a block, and then I'm thinking maybe I could force the ball back inside and one of our guys will make the tackle." When fans of the team saw him supporting his own mistake, there was outrage everywhere. People were appalled at his behavior, and his own team members weren't too happy either. The Broncos head coach, Vic Fangio, decided to stop laying blame on Bridgewater. Even though he acknowledged that the play was a huge moment in the game, he said that the team self-destructed, was not playing so well even before the play took place. Coach Fangio said, "Obviously it was a big play, we're down there, and even if we get stopped, you hope for a field goal. All of a sudden it was a 14-point game, so it was huge. I know Teddy. If he thought he had a chance to at least throw at the guy, he would have." Did you know that Bridgewater completed 22 of 36 passes for 226 yards in this game? So he clearly was trying his best to help the team win, but the loss saw the Broncos fall to last place in the AFC West with a sad 5-5 record. Coach Fangio also mentioned that Bridgewater was inconsistent during the game, but other players were also making the same mistakes. In fact, if the team had more plays collectively, they might have just ended up winning the game. As a result of this loss, the Eagles, featuring Australians Jordan Mailata and Aaron Siposs, have now moved into second place in the NFC East with a 4-6 record. But Bridgewater isn't the only quarterback to make mistakes like these. Here's a list of NFL players who make terrible quarterbacks. Number 1, Mark Sanchez. Sanchez played for a variety of teams during 2009-2018. These included the New York Jets, Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins. He has participated in a total of 79 games and had 1,314 completions with a 56.6% completion percentage. Sanchez has also achieved 15,357 yards, 86 touchdowns, and 89 interceptions. And even though he has better stats than most quarterbacks on this list, he made a ton of mistakes in his time. Did you know that he is most known for the butt fumble? Apparently, he struggled everywhere he went and seemed to get worse the more he played. Some analysts have have even stated that it was actually surprising how long the New York Jets kept him around. Number 2, Jimmy Clausen. Jimmy Clausen played 4 seasons in the NFL from 2010 to 2015. He's played with the Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears, and Baltimore Ravens. And in his 21 games, he has achieved 255 completions with a 54% completion percentage. He also has 2,520 yards, 7 touchdowns, 14 interceptions under his belt. Clausen didn't start off as a bad quarterback. In fact, he had an impressive junior year at Notre Dame where he completed 68% of his passes for 28 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions. But sadly, that success didn't follow him in the NFL. Here, he had a 1-9 record just in his rookie year and settled for 3 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. The whole thing was a really sad affair. Number 3, Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn played a total of 4 seasons from 2007 to 2014. He was just a part of the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs during his career. Quinn has participated in 24 games, which have resulted in 296 completions with a 53.8% completion percentage. He's also managed to achieve 3,043 yards with 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. When he was at Notre Dame, Quinn had 69 touchdowns and 14 interceptions during his final 2 years on campus, but he wasn't able to consistently carry that performance in his quarterback career at the NFL. So he ended up being some of the most terrible quarterbacks the league has ever seen. Did you know that in his first 3 seasons with the Browns, he had a 3-9 record, but after a couple of years out of play, he had a terrible comeback with the Chiefs. This consisted of 1-7 records, 2 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions. Number 4, Jack Thompson. Jack Thompson is also known as a pretty terrible quarterback in the league. He played 6 seasons between 1979 and 1984 and was part of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thompson played a total of 51 games, which consisted of 449 completions that had a 53.1% completion percentage. He also managed to achieve 5,315 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 45 interceptions during that time. But things weren't always so bad for Thompson. In fact, he was known as an interception machine in college. Things stayed constant for a while even after he made it to the NFL. Did you know that he threw for 13 touchdowns and 19 interceptions in his first 3 years with the Bengals? He also threw 20 touchdowns and 26 interceptions in his next 2 years with Tampa Bay. But with the mistakes he was making on the field and his inconsistent performance, he wasn't the best quarterback for the job. This is why he had to keep switching teams too. People were just too unhappy with his overall performance, and team members did not want to carry dead weight with them. Number 5, Joey Harrington. Joey Harrington was part of 6 seasons in the NFL from 2002 to 2007. He was part of 3 teams during his career, which included the Detroit Lions, Miami Dolphins, and Atlanta Falcons. Harrington played 81 games and had 1,424 completions, with a 56.1% completion percentage. He also completed 14,693 yards, 79 touchdowns, and 85 interceptions during his career. But the problem with his game was his lack of leadership skills. The Detroit Lions let him lead their team for 4 whole years. They also compiled an 18-38 record with the team. Harrington also followed that up with a 5-6 record in Miami and another 3-7 record in Atlanta. But it didn't really matter who he played for because Harrington never led his team to a winning record. It was clear that he wasn't a great leader, so he could never make it big as a quarterback during his 6-season career with the league. What do you think about these quarterback stories? Do you have any other names that you'd like to add to this list? Let us know in the comments below. Like this video, and we'll see you next time with some more news from the NFL.